Hi everyone! So today we're going to make some cards using these Winter Prism dies by Honeybee Stamps, and they come as a set. So this die on the left is the base layer, and then this is the middle layer, and then this is the top layer, and I'll show you how they all work together. So assume this is the card base for a second. We would then take this base layer and put that right on top of our card base. And then we'll take this middle layer and place that right on top. So already we're getting this cool little prism look. And then last, we'll take this top layer and put that on top. And then this is what you end up with. And this is a monochromatic look, so this is just with all white cardstock. I also can show you a little stack that's done with craft cardstock, again, all monochrome. And I haven't glued these together yet. We're gonna glue them together to make some cards in a second. Now let's take a look at what happens when you combine it with different colored papers. So just gonna lay these down here, and now we can get started. So this is my base layer. This is a very dark brown cardstock. And then I'm gonna take a medium brown cardstock and put that on top. That's my base layer. Then I will go ahead and take this middle layer and place that on top. So already we're starting to get a cool prism effect. And then last but not least, we're going to put some white on top. And I thought white would be fun here just because it reminds me of like a gingerbread house with a frosting on top. And the card that we're going to design with this little cardstock sandwich is going to have a gingerbread man theme. So that's kind of what it looks like when you start combining colors with your sandwich. Now, I also want to show you what it looks like when you only use some of the dies together. So this is one example if you just want to use this top layer here. So this is a piece of rose gold mirrored cardstock, and this is some white glitter cardstock. So this is just the card base, and then this is the top layer, and then this is kind of what it would look like if you were just to layer this die with your card base. So that's a cool look as well. So let's take it a step further and see what it looks like when you add, we're gonna add this one and this one. So the middle layer and the top. So here's our card base, and I cut this out of some of the Holiday Traditions pattern paper pack that Honeybee released as part of its winter release. And now let's place this middle layer, which I cut out of white cardstock, over top of our card base. And that's already looking beautiful. And now watch what happens when I put the top layer on top. Right? Just gorgeous. I just love how that looks. All right. So I think at this point you get the idea. So now let's start making some cards. And what I've done is I've cut out all of my pieces ahead of time. And I thought we would just kind of work through until I am out of all my little pieces.
Okay, so for card number 1, we're going to take that rose gold mirror cardstock. It's sold by Tonic Studios. And then we're going to put a piece of glitter cardstock over top, and that is Sugar Crystal cardstock by Tonic Studios. And then I took this Sentiment from the Season to Sparkle stamp set, and I stamped it with silver embossing powder and then heat set it. And then I also cut out these little snowflakes out of Sugar Crystal glitter cardstock and then just plain white cardstock. And the snowflakes are from the Layering Snowflakes die that Honeybee Stamps released as part of its holiday release this year. We're also going to use these little gem stickers. These are called the Log Cabin gem stickers. And I'm going to use the little like grayish crystals and then the clear crystals to dot the center of my snowflakes, just to give a little bit more sparkle to the card. And for each of the snowflakes that I'm placing here, I'm layering them. So I'm putting a piece of the glitter cardstock as my first layer, and then just some white cardstock as my top layer. I find that it makes the prettiest layered snowflake, at least for the cards that I'm making today. And now this is looking pretty good to me. I'm just going to add a few more crystals to the sentiment itself, right in the center of those little stars. And there we have it. So for this Winter Prism card, we only use the top plate. So again, you can use your Winter Prism dies in many different ways. You can use all of them together. You can use two together. You can use just one like I did on this card. So there's lots of great looks that you can get. Okay, so now let's move on to card number 2. And for card number 2, we're going to use 2 of the Winter Prism dies. We're going to use that top piece and then the middle layer. And the base layer I cut out of some of the Holiday Traditions paper pack by Honeybee Stamps. This is really pretty sky blue and white pattern paper. And I'm just going to layer my little Winter Prism sandwich together just like so. And that's all looking good to me. Then we're going to attach everything to an A2 size card base that's top folding. And we're going to take this sentiment that I cut out of the Season to Sparkle stamp set. And then I also cut it out with the accompanying die. One of the great things about this sentiment stamp set is that all of the sentiments also have a die so that cuts around the words for you. So it's a really, really nice look on your cards, and it allows you to not waste any extra space taken up by, extra cardstock. It cuts right to the edge of the letters. And I just love how that white Christmas looks. I'm popping up my sentiment on just one layer of foam tape just to make it stand out from the background. And this one says, "Wishing you a white Christmas." And now for the placement of our snowflakes. So I'm going to take my art glitter liquid adhesive and just apply it to the center of that snowflake on the bottom left hand corner. And then I'm going to do the same with my top layered snowflake. And I want the snowflakes I want the edges to pop up a little bit just to help give some dimension to the card and just make it interesting looking. So that's why I'm only gluing the centers of the snowflakes down to the card base. And then if the snowflake peeks out over top of the sentiment, I just kind of pull the sentiment up a little bit and push the snowflake underneath. And then we're going to add a third cluster of little snowflakes in the upper left-hand side. And I did play around a lot with the placement of the snowflakes here. I'm not a natural when it comes to figure out where to put embellishments on cards. So I probably spent a few minutes each card just kind of playing around with different layering combinations. But ultimately, this is the one that I came up with for this card, with the 2 towards the bottom, the 2 clusters towards the bottom, and 1 on the upper left-hand side. Okay, so now we're going to move on to our third card, and for this one we are going to use all of the layers of the Winter Prism die. So for that base layer, I use some Blue Frost pearlescent cardstock by Tonic, and then I just use plain white cardstock for that first layer, or the bottom layer of our Winter Prism die, and then some sugar crystal glitter cardstock for the center layer. And then just some plain white cardstock for the top layer, the Winter Prism die. And that's what we end up with. So I just love how clean and crisp this layout looks. And I thought that a real simple design would work here. So I just took my little baby "It's Cold Outside" sentiment that I stamped on craft cardstock, and then added these 2 little gingerbread people from the Gingerbread House Add On stamp set. And then to make the gingerbread people look like they were frosted, I just stamped them with some Versamark ink and then heat set some white embossing powder over those lines. And I just love this card. I think it's such a cute romantic design. And now we can move on to card number 4. For card number 4, this is going to be our black and white kind of elegant version. And I just am using some plain black cardstock for the very base. And then the first layer of our sandwich is that sugar crystal cardstock. The second layer is going to be this black, I think it's called Black Diamond glitter cardstock, also by Tonic. And then that's it. So we're going to leave off the very top layer of this Winter Prism sandwich. So I only use the first and the second layers, or the bottom and the middle layer. And then we're going to use this white Christmas sentiment that I stamped and die cut from the Season to Sparkle stamp and die set. And then we're going to add some more layered snowflakes just like before. And for this one, I thought we'd have a snowflake pattern that kind of ran from the lower left-hand corner of the card all the way up to the top. And the snowflakes are going to get smaller and smaller as we get towards the top. Whenever I kind of get stumped on a card design, this is one of the designs that I go back to again and again. I just love it when you have a design that snakes from one corner of the card and then moves diagonally up to the other outside edge. And then to just jazz things up a little bit, we're going to add some of the little crystals from the Log Cabin gem stickers set from Honeybee Stamps. And I'm using the kind of grayish crystals and then some of the clear crystals. So I use the darker crystals towards the bottom of the card and then the clear crystals towards the top. So it has a little bit of an ombre effect. And then for some of the snowflakes, I'm just dotting it with that white Nuvo drops. And then I'm going to add some little Nuvo drops here and there along that little diagonal design, just so it looks like maybe little snowflakes, just to help give the design a little bit of interest and just pull together the black and white elements. And it looks like I am almost done. Just one more little drop there on the upper right hand corner. I guess another one under the sentiment. And that's it. So that's our 4th card. This one, it's just, I think it's a pretty elegant look. And then for our last card, this is our gingerbread themed card. And we're going to take some dark brown cardstock for the base. For our bottom layer, I'm using some medium brown cardstock. And then for our middle layer, I'm using a little bit lighter brown cardstock, more like a tan cardstock. And then the top is going to be our white cardstock. And this, again, is because I wanted it to look like frosting on a gingerbread house or a gingerbread cake or a gingerbread cookie. And then we're going to put that whole sandwich on top of an A2 size card base. And I used my tape runner to adhere all of the prism pieces together. I think that if you are going to be sending your cards out more than 2 weeks away, you might want to use liquid adhesive. I find that the tape runner, that it works really, really fast and kind of like a dream when you're doing something like filming a video like this, but it does tend to lose its tackiness over time. So I'm not sure how well these cards are going to hold up over the long term. So if you do make these at home, you might want to use some liquid adhesive and just, it'll take a little bit more time, but your card will probably last longer if you do so. So this is another Baby It's Cold Outside, another romantic theme card with our little gingerbread couple at the bottom. I thought it'd be fun to put a little Santa hat on top of the bee and baby. And then we're going to have the little gingerbread couple sharing a candy cane. And then I think I'm going to add a lollipop as well. And these little stamps are from the Gingerbread House Add On stamp set. And I just colored them off camera and in red and green traditional Christmas colors. And I just thought it would be fun to make like a little candy tornado, I guess, like coming from the bottom right of the card going up towards the left. So it's just this cute, sweet little couple. And Then we're just gonna finish off the card by adding some glossy accents to the hearts, and I think also to the lollipop and then to the little gumdrop in the corner, just to make them stand out. So I didn't put this on everything, I just put it on a few of the red pieces and then a few of the green pieces just to even things out. And that's it. So those are my Winter Prism cards, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this video. I really hope you give these cards a try. It took a little bit of time to die cut the Winter Prism pieces, but once I did that, these cards came together really, really quickly. I think I finished all 5 of these cards in under an hour. It was a really fun Sunday morning project for me. So here I've just listed the different Honeybee Stamps products that I use to make these cards in case you're interested in duplicating any of them. And that's all I have for you today, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this video and I really hope you give these cards a try. I will see you again soon in the next video. Have a great day.